Welcome back to Soapbox Tonight. Grab a drink, get comfy, and settle in for the kind of evening where we talk, we laugh, we occasionally groan at me, and sometimes we just stare at the world and wonder what even is going on. Speaking of which, sometimes I get told I can be, a little wordy, maybe a little too insightful, a touch too thoughtful. Apparently, that's not exactly what people want at the end of the day when they tune in here. So just this week, I decided to do something radical. I won't be pontificating about long-forgotten country songs. I won't be getting lost in my own head debating which side of the looking glass we're tumbling through. No, instead, I give you a cat video. And not just any cat video. This is a cat performing the purest act of existence, with all the eloquence, subtlety, and perfect catness you could hope for. Sitting, staring, doing everything a cat does, while somehow doing nothing at all that matters to us humans. Behold the perfect foil for a late-night existential crisis. A cat being a cat flawlessly. Good evening, America, where the government shuts down but somehow the flights don't. Or maybe they do. Depends on which federal employee you ask, or how loudly you can shout at a controller. Yes, the US government has officially set a new record, 36 days of chaos, the longest shutdown in history. And while Congress argued, bickered, and Democrats forgot they were supposed to fund the country, millions of Americans were left wondering, do I get paid? Can I fly? Will the FAA still exist by Monday? Spoiler alert, the answers are murky. The Senate finally decided to throw a life preserver over the political Titanic. That's right, they passed a funding package that keeps the lights on until January 30th, 2026, guaranteeing back pay for federal workers. Meanwhile, a handful of Democrats broke ranks just to get this moving, proving once again that compromise is only popular when someone else suffers. Now let's talk about the real heroes here. Air traffic controllers, working without pay, keeping planes from turning into flying bumper cars. Flights have already been canceled by the thousands at major airports. Chaos in the skies is the new travel experience. Then came the administration's push. All air traffic controllers were called back to work immediately. Flights resumed, schedules adjusted, and the system slowly clawed its way back to normal. Now, with the Senate passing a bill and the House expected to follow, the shutdown is almost over. Almost. Let's not forget the collateral damage. Backlogged paychecks, chaotic air travel, and a nation collectively face-palming while Congress debates, whether or not to debate. So buckle up. The government might be back to work soon. Your flight, maybe. Your patience, definitely tested. And America? Well, America marches on, proving once again that bureaucracy can ground even the skies above us. And now let's dive into this week's constitutional tidbit, where we dig into the quirks of state constitutions that the founding fathers didn't think to tell you about. Tonight, Florida and its obsession with sunshine in government. Most people think of Florida as beaches, oranges, and let's be honest, some very questionable headlines. Think Florida Man. But there's another Florida obsession that's actually enshrined in its constitution: transparency. Specifically, the right for the public to peek in on government meetings. Today, in 2025, Florida's Constitution, Article 1, Section 24, guarantees that all meetings of any collegial public body must be open and noticed to the public whenever official business is discussed or official acts are taken. That's right, from school board to county commissions to state agencies. If decisions are being made, you have a right to be there. This isn't optional. Floridians put it in the Constitution via 1992 amendment, sometimes called the constitutional backbone of the state's famous Government in the Sunshine laws. Before 1992, open meeting rules existed by statute since 1967, and in a narrower constitutional form for legislative committees starting in 1968. But the 1992 amendment broadened it to cover virtually every public body, giving citizens a constitutional leg to stand on when demanding access. Florida is unusual in this respect. Other states may have sunshine laws or limited constitutional rights of access, Montana and Colorado, for example. But Florida's provision is broad, detailed, and backed by statute, giving it real bite. If a board meeting goes behind closed doors without notice, citizens can argue it's unconstitutional, not just illegal. So remember, in Florida, the only thing that should be shady is the palm trees, not your local government meetings. That's your constitutional tidbit. Sunshine Law's not just a law, but a constitutional right in the Sunshine State. Now go grab your popcorn because the latest episode of Everybody Freaks Out About Tariffs is now streaming live. Here's the headline. The U.S. slapped Switzerland with a 39% tariff. Yes, nearly 4 in 10 Swiss francs just to sell stuff in the U.S. market. Analysts gasped. Pundits waved red flags. Twitter erupted with doom-mongering threads. Meanwhile, Switzerland just kept doing its thing, and the deal moved forward. And what happened? Negotiations. A reduction. Boom! The tariff is likely dropping to around 15%. Calm returns. The Swiss can breathe. The US? We just scored another victory without even breaking a sweat. Classic Trump. Hit hard, then negotiate. Then look like the genius at the table. For a little context, if you remember in 2018, steel and aluminum tariffs, 25% and 10%, Canada, Mexico, the EU, everyone acted like the sky was falling. And yes, there was short-term noise. Headlines screamed, economists muttered darkly. But did it work? Yep. Leverage was built. Deals were made. We set the rules and the other side learned who's boss. China? Same story. Tariffs on over 2/3 of imports averaging nearly 20%. Chaos. Check. Panic. Double check. Results? Also check. Phase 1 deals. Better terms. Leverage for future negotiations. Critics? Still typing in all caps. We're just quietly winning. And now Trump 2.0, the 2025 tariff framework. Minimal global tariffs, some countries seeing 50%. Brazil, India, a bunch of Asian countries, markets quivered. Newsrooms gasped. Then deals started happening. Nervous Nancy's take a number. The world isn't ending. Numbers, because you like numbers. Steel and aluminum, 2018, hundreds of billions in trade impact. China tariffs, 250 plus billion in goods at around 20%. Trump 2.0 global tariffs, projected 2.5 trillion with a T in revenue over the next decade. Yes, short-term bumps exist. Prices rise. Supply chains adjust. But here's the thing. Results are emerging. Switzerland is the latest poster child. And when the smoke clears, we're seeing better deals, more leverage, start of long-term wins. Critics still sweating. The rest of us quietly collecting the benefits. Takeaway, tariffs aren't magic. They do make some people squirm. But the game is working. Hit hard, negotiate, extract value, repeat. Switzerland is the proof. The US can use leverage, set the rules, start realizing gains, and the critics are going to wave flags. So let them. The scoreboard, it's looking very favorable. So the next time someone warns that tariffs are the end of the world, Just smile, sip your coffee, and watch the nervous Nancys get quietly schooled by results. So tonight I'd like to talk about one of my favorite books, Kurt Vonnegut's Cat's Cradle. If you know it, you remember the pattern. A string twisted and turned into a fragile web, held by two men whose power, their games, eventually collapse into disaster. See the cat? See the cradle? Now, normally this is where we dissect literary theory, but this isn't Soapbox Saturday, this is Soapbox Tonight. What I'm about to tell you is not fiction. It's Sudan. Ask someone, hey, did you hear the story out of Sudan? Most would shrug. Sudan? El Fashir? Never heard of it. But stay with me. The pattern is familiar. Two allies, once close, now tearing a country apart. That's something anyone can understand. General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo Himadi, former partners, standing side by side to overthrow Sudan's dictator Omar al-Bashir. These two men weren't just colleagues, they were friends, co-architects of the transition. Publicly, they smiled, they shook hands, they called each other brothers. But the alliance shattered. Integration of the rapid support forces into the army stalled. Ambition, pride, and the old Khartoum elite versus marginalized Darfurian tension exploded into war. See the cat? See the cradle? The literary echo is unmistakable. In Animal Farm, Napoleon and Snowball begin as revolutionary partners. Their rivalry destroys the animal's hopes. In Sudan, Burham and Hermides' real fight has cost thousands of civilians. Focus on El Fashir, the capital of North Darfur. After a prolonged siege, the RSF captured it in late October 2025. Satellite images show long trenches, likely mass graves. Trucks moved under cover of night. Witnesses say bodies were buried, burned, disappeared. Tens of thousands of civilians fled. Famine spreads. Ethnic targeting appeared to be part of the mix. See the cat? See the cradle? Families were displaced, torn apart, invisible to most of the world. The game of Burhan and Hermidy, like Napoleon and Snowball in Animal Farm, has real victims. The string they once held together is fraying, and everyone caught in the middle suffers. Vonnegut's Island was a parable. Orwell's Barn was a parable. Shakespeare's Brutus and Cassius, Steinbeck's Brothers, all explore alliances gone wrong. Sudan is no parable. See the cat? See the cradle? No words can straighten the mess now. What remains is tangled, frayed, and heavy with consequences. The story of El Fashir, of two friends turned rivals, and all those caught in between, is written in real lives. See the cat? See the cradle? And moving on to this week's headline roundup, brought to you as always by BB's Pager Emporium, home of the explosive good deals. In Kentucky, a UPS plane crashed when an engine fell off. 11 people have tragically lost their lives, and this is a reminder that safety can never be taken for granted. Out of Charlotte, Mayor Vi Lyles has been reelected. Somehow, the city picked a mayor running on the pro-stabbing refugees on light rail trains campaign. Somehow. She got elected. Democracy, folks. Sometimes it's stranger than fiction. And in New York, the fire commissioner has resigned following Mamdani's victory in the New York City mayoral race. Yeah, I hope none of your apartments catch fire while you're heading down to the city-run free grocery store. Politics sure has a way of heating things up. In Chicago, there's currently a manhunt. A gunman allegedly fired at federal agents during immigration enforcement. Some people really hate a quiet afternoon. BBC's director has resigned. Criticisms over a Trump speech being edited forced a resignation. Even across the pond, politics burns hotter than tea. And apparently, resignations steep faster than Earl Grey. There's been an Ecuadorian prison riot. 31 inmates are left dead. Gangs are a huge problem there, and gangs are a problem here. We need to crack down before things get as bad here as they are there. Law and order is not optional. So, whether we're staring at cats, Congress, tariffs, or tangled strings in Sudan, one thing's clear: the world doesn't pause for clarity. Chaos, comedy, tragedy, and triumph all intertwined. And here on Soapbox Tonight, we see it all. We comment, we laugh, we groan, and we try to make sense, one story at a time. Thanks for joining me tonight. Stay curious, stay alert, and above all, keep your own string untangled, at least a little. Good night, America. See you next time on Soapbox Tonight.